Hi, I'm David Johnson, and this is Verse by Verse. Whether it's at school, work, or some other social occasion, we all meet quite a variety of people as we travel through the challenges and opportunities life presents to us. Some of those people are instantly likable. Their personalities are friendly and appealing, and they mesh well with our own. They seem to become friends from the first time we meet them. Others are fine, but it may take a little longer to get to know them and appreciate their unique characteristics. But our friendships can still develop over time. And there are honestly some people who are, well, a little more challenging. They may have some trait that we find annoying, and it's more difficult to appreciate someone like that. A number of years ago, I was in a situation where I needed to deal with someone with an irritating habit. He was an older man, and every time he spoke, his voice was raised and everyone around could hear everything he said. Even in a normal conversation, his voice would be so loud that you felt he was almost shouting at you. One day I decided I had enough of his annoying habit. I figured the best way to deal with this was to talk just as loudly as him when I was talking with him. That would show him how irritating his loud speaking was. We talked for a short time, both of us with raised voices. After a few minutes, he said, "By the way, if you wonder why I always seem to talk so loudly, it's because I'm almost deaf and I really can't tell how loud I am." Ouch. I immediately felt like a fool, which is appropriate since that's exactly what I was. Instead of trying to understand why he was speaking in this way, I was being disrespectful to this older man because of a physical problem he couldn't help. Thankfully, he had a gracious spirit, and as I began to show him the respect I should have been showing him in the first place, we became friends. As I thought further on the situation, I think the part that bothered me the most was that I knew better than to treat someone in that way. I had read and agreed with the passage in the book of Proverbs that warned against this very thing. It's found in Proverbs 18, verse 13. "He who answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame to him." I was not ignorant of that instruction, and I didn't disagree with it. I just let it slip from my thinking for a time when it should have been the first thing to come to my mind. Just as Solomon warned, I was shamed by my own foolishness. However, as unpleasant as the lesson was, it has had an impact on the way I approach situations and people since then. Oh, I don't always get it right, but that scripture has saved me from embarrassing myself on more than one occasion in the years since then. When we don't have all the facts, it's easy to get angry about things we don't really understand. Today, we live in a world where anger seems to be overflowing, and much of it's because we're violating this ancient instruction. Road rage, political infighting, turmoil of all kinds seems to be everywhere around us, and much of the time, people are upset without ever actually understanding what's going on. In the New Testament, the Apostle James builds on Solomon's advice and tells us how to avoid making the kind of mistake I made in dealing with that elderly gentleman. In James 1, verses 19 and 20, James wrote, "So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." Many times in the midst of an emotionally intense conversation, we can find ourselves only partially listening to what another person says while we're really thinking about how we're going to respond. That approach will inevitably cause us to answer a matter without really understanding in the first place. And just as Solomon said, we end up looking foolish and ashamed. Swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Those are words that not only protect us from our own foolishness, they're words that enable us to build relationships that are respectful and enduring. Would you like to know more of what Scripture reveals about building relationships? Go to the Life, Hope, and Truth website and click on the Relationships tab at the top of the page. The program notes will provide a link.
Verse by Verse is a Life, Hope, and Truth podcast. Check out the show notes to find more free content, like videos, articles, and booklets in our Learning Center.